Okay, we're back.
Yep. Unearth, you saw a 3-player game with Will, who...
Guest starring Will,
yeah.
who didn't get the game. That was my fault. When we taught it, we really thought he had it, and then when he played, he didn't. Which is, in my opinion, the most difficult concept of the game. It takes a minute before you see how to arrange the stones. Once you get the stone arrangement down, the rest of the game is pretty easy.
I don't think we actually played a game of it before.
No, we made him jump right in.
Yeah, so I think that was probably our fault. We usually tend to play a game first when people are new to it, so they get an idea of it. But, yeah. I
think he still had fun with it. It's just that it was like, oh, I don't even get what's happening. The game's almost over. And then it was like, oh, I see it now. There's only 2 cards left.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyways, but besides that, that was our fault. Unearth, similar to... Citadel of Time, this was saw as at Origins
2017.
and 2017, yeah, and it piqued my interest. And Jeb was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're explaining." Then we finally walked by it once, and I said, "That's what I'm talking about," because I couldn't remember the name. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And we kept walking.
I didn't understand, like, because there were a good amount of tables with this set up and people playing. I was like, I mean, it looks nice, but I don't see, like, there's nothing grabbing me into it. So I was like, yeah, Mickey will probably get it at some point.
Yeah, and I did. I think I used it as a filler or something on one of my orders because honestly, going into this game, this was definitely a crapshoot for me. I have a bad habit of pretty things.
Well, it definitely would have helped if we got to play it at Origins, but I think it was...
It definitely would have helped if we got to play it at Origins, but the tables, again, were always full, and I think some of that was because it is an attractive-looking game once it's on the table. It has a unique artwork, so that is part of what drew me in. It's not super expensive, so that's why I was willing to take a chance on it. It's not like an $80 game that looks pretty that I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful. So, all that being said, it was a purchase that I am glad that I made. I enjoy the game. Is it a top 5 game? No, but it is definitely a game for me that I would pull out with pretty much anybody.
Yep.
Because like I said, I feel like the if you watch at least how to play the game, you know that building the stones to acquire the wonders, in my opinion, is the concept that's a little bit more difficult, and I think it's one of those things that once you've seen it happen, either somebody else doing it or doing it yourself, then it clicks.
Yep.
The only other thing that I would say is a little more difficult is remembering how the acquiring of a ruin works in terms of the dice. Because remember that an 8-sided die is actually more powerful than a 6-sided die, that type of thing. And then the whole thing with tiebreakers.
Yeah, that's the...
you can get a little stuck on that. I think it's pretty clear in the book, so you know, if...
Just go back and consult.
Yeah, the first couple times you play, if that comes up, just make sure that you're doing it correctly.
Yep.
Other than that, that is a pretty straightforward game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty quick. Most gamers are familiar with set builders. That's all this is. Yeah. It's a set builder with random points, and I like the hidden point part of it.
Yeah, the hidden point definitely helps, because then you're like, well, is he ahead of me or not?
Because all you can see is the sets that they have currently. You can't see any of their wonders, like score-wise, unless it's a power scoring thing. Like, I think there's one that says, you know, score +1 for every yellow stone, or something like that. Well, certainly you would be able to count that up. But, I mean, as the sets get bigger, I mean, if they've got a 4 spot, and they've still got their hidden card unknown, did they get the 30?
Right.
Or is that card over here, and then if they got some greater wonders, did they get the 6 or did they get the 8?
Yep.
And that's one of the things that makes it so interesting, because, you know, you don't necessarily know what the best strategy is to go after. Should I go after more sets? Should I go after more wonders?
And that's one of the things, like, when I'm playing, I think every time I've played this game, I've always focused on building stuff. And I think you mentioned that I like to build, and that's because I'm always sitting at the things, looking at the, what are they called? The ruins. I'm like, I'm never going to get my set built. Like, everybody's taking what I want, and my dice never fall in the right place. Yeah. So I'm like, I might as well just build stuff.
And that's one of the beauties of the game, is because they did two different ways to score.
Yep.
By what he's saying is taking the aspects with the stones and the aspects of the ruins, plus the aspects of bad rolls and good rolls are taken into consideration when you lump all that one together, because you need you can need high numbers to claim a ruin, yet the low numbers are how you get all the stones.
Yep.
So, I mean, like Jeb said, like a lot of times, he's like, oh, if I can snag a ruin, great. But if I can roll ones all day, I'll take that too. And then Mickey's like, what color does Jeb need next? Oh, I'm going to go take it off of that card. Which, that makes the game really cool too, because you can see what somebody's trying to build, and if you can keep them from getting it,
and the best part,
helps.
When people start doing that to you, you can try to get stuff drawn from the bag, and they have no control over that.
Yeah, and then you're like, please don't get it, please don't get it, please don't get it.
And then I got it.
And then you got it. And then it happens. But anyways, I feel like we've played this one a good amount of times too, and I feel like most of the games have been pretty close. I don't mean within 1 or 2 points, but until you start adding everything up, you're like, it's close, it's close, it's close, and then it's when you start flipping over the wonders, I feel like that's when it really starts to either kind of shift in somebody's direction. So once you have a feel for the game, I feel like there's really good odds that you're going to have a close game with it. In terms of teaching people in difficulty, I already said what I thought was the hardest. I don't know where I'd put it on the scale, because I do think there's some of that, that needs to click thing. So it's probably one of those, like you said, what we should have done with Will. So we really should have played a whole game so all that would have registered, because I think you get to the point where it's like the mechanics are very, very simple. It really is.
Yeah.
So you're just like, well, this is just play, you'll get it. And well, that's true, but you should consider it a practice game rather than a real game, and let people be like, oh, okay, I get it. And, if you can back off a little bit, try not to be cutthroat when you're teaching people, and let them kind of like, oh, okay, I got it now. And then next game, you just hammer them.
I think Jungle Joust was kind of like that too, where the mechanics is pretty simple, but it's the scoring is where you realize what all the mechanics needs to be done.
what needs to be done. I would agree with that. So definitely something that
we recommend doing a practice play with people before actually playing your real play of it. So.
In terms of components, they're all adequate. I don't think anything was like, I wouldn't give it like, oh my gosh, these are the best ever. They're all solid.
Yeah.
I think the cards are regular, not linen, but the dice are very they're very sharp in terms, not sharp like razor sharp, but very clear. They're very colorful. The artwork is spectacular and all that kind of thing. So all of that is very solid in it.
It comes with an organizer too in it. So
yes, and it's a good one too. It's not stuff isn't overflowing off the tops. There's plenty of space for everything. I guess they could probably even do an expansion for this. Add some more ruins and different things like that. And, it'd be easy enough, because like during setup you take out so many cards. You can put it in a whole expansion. They just tell you like, if you're going to combine the sets, then take out 10 cards instead of 5 or whatever.
Right.
You could do that type of thing. I have no idea if they have plans for that. But it is a purchase I'm glad I made. I don't know if Jeb's got anything else to say. So
Not too much. I just remember when I first saw it, I was like, eh. And when we played it, I actually enjoyed playing it. It was more fun than what I thought it would have been, just by looking at it to me. But
Yeah.
that's my personal opinion, because I'm like...
I don't disagree, because I used to be a lot, worse about walking right by things and being like, that doesn't catch my attention. I think, besides thinking it was pretty, I think the other thing that got me is that we couldn't sit down at the table.
Oh, yeah.
But that happened with another game, too, that I don't know that we'll ever review because we don't own it and neither of us want to, was Century Spice Road. So,
oh, yeah.
you know, and don't shoot me if it's one of your favorites. I don't think it's a bad game, but I think I have plenty of games that already satisfy that itch. So when we...
I know when I played that one, we finished and I was like, yeah, okay.
Because we've seen all that stuff before. It wasn't, like... It wasn't that it wasn't good, and it wasn't that it was, like, the package is beautiful, and that's one of the reasons why we sat down. It was just one of those games where it was like, this game does that. I have games that do this stuff. So, now, if I didn't have anything that did that, I would have thought that that thing was spectacular.
You just got a free review of
Century Spice Road for because you're not going to see, you're not going to see the whole gameplay. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, well, I hope that I wouldn't say don't try it, and
right, you know, yeah, it's not a bad game, it's just it didn't
do it for us. All I was doing was trying to give a comparison to two different scenarios where we looked at the game the same way.
Yep.
We looked at it, it looked pretty, the tables were always crowded through the whole convention. We just were never able to sit down at this one, and we were at the other one.
Yeah.
And honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm glad I bought this one blind and not the other one blind, because I might have bought, if we hadn't sat down, I might have bought the other one because it was hyped through the roof.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was just people at tables all.
And then what they come out with an orc one or something like that.
Yeah, it was a different version.
And if it was a different version, and that would have been even more up my alley. But again, I have other games that satisfy that kind of mechanic, and I was like, well, I don't need another one of those. So I know you guys really totally don't know what I'm talking about, and like
we'll get back to Unearth.
I was trying to make the comparison to why, you know, why sometimes I make silly decisions. Anyways,
one thing I really liked about this is that it doesn't matter what you roll on your dice because you're getting somewhat rewarded either way. Because if you're like us and we roll crappy, you're getting stones. If you roll high, then you're closer to claiming the card or the ruin card. So
and then having the manipulation of the delvers is just great.
Those are fun too.
Those are super fun, and that's yet again another reward for something that you didn't get, because if you claim the ruin and the other person had dice on it, at least they're getting delver cards. And you might have had to use a delver card to get that card, so now you're short on delver cards and they've got more than you. So, balance-wise, even though it's a luck game, they put a lot of stuff in there for manipulation.
Yeah, if somebody's like going after one ruin and they're about to claim it, why not just throw a D6 on it and be like, oh, well, get a Delver card.
Yeah, you could literally bust it knowing that you're not going to get it, just so you could get some more cards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's strategies like that. There's strategies like, you might think, you know, it's hard to get out that mental, like, I need high rolls, because it's like people don't grab their D4 until after the first game that we played, and then we were like, wait a second, if I use that D4, I almost get a stone any time I want.
Yeah, I know after the first couple plays,
after the first game, it clicked with both of us. We were like, that D4 gives me a stone anytime I want. If I need a certain color and it's on the board, you're almost guaranteed, particularly if you have one of those plus-minus cards in your hand, you get it. It's happening. So, and besides trying to block people and stuff, there's no messing with people, sort of. Like, on their turn.
Yeah, because in the rulebook it says that you're not allowed to play Delver cards not on your turn.
Right. So the only time you can mess with people is with Delver cards on your turn. Yep. So if it makes it back to you, and you're set up to get a ruin and you need a roll of 1, you're getting it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I won't go on too much about that. I think I covered, you know, what I thought was hard and, you know, why I bought the game. And like I said, it's pretty simple if you watched it. Hopefully you watched. This is another one that if you don't want to watch the entire game, I feel like watch 10 minutes, you'll have an idea of how the game's played.
Then watch the end.
And then I would say watch maybe the last 10 minutes because you'll be able to see some of the tableaus, how they got set up, and you'll be able to see scoring.
Yep.
And that's pretty important. So that's my opinion on what you should watch. People that wouldn't like this, people that hate random stuff, I feel like might not like this, even though they've done a good job.
If you don't like set collecting.
Collecting, yeah, you don't want to.
And if you're looking for a long game, this is not.
Yeah, and this is what did they give for the up to an hour?
Yeah.
I don't know if any of our games took an hour, but maybe with 4 people it does. So, they seem to have scaled it well. You know, taking out those cards and everything definitely does. You know, because it's got a built-in timer.
Yep. Once the deck runs out, it's over.
Right.
Or well, once it runs out and everybody claims everything.
Yeah, and since you have to do stuff with your dice every turn, ruins are gonna get taken. Not to mention the fact is that they're a major scoring component in the game. So you're not gonna sit there the whole time and just be like, just get stones. It's just not gonna happen.
Yep.
So, anyways.
I will say one of my favorite things is that end of age card that is worth negative points. Because when we were playing that game, you could tell everybody was avoiding that, and that was the last card that was there, and everybody was trying to play Delver cards to manipulate it so they wouldn't get it. It was hilarious.
It really was. It was those end things are great. You know, the other thing that I was just thinking of is since I showed Jeb this game, I'm not sure that I've beat him yet, and that makes me angry.
Oh yeah, so, I think I've won all of them.
Yeah, with after the first game, I think once he started doing it, I'm just gonna build stuff.
Oh, he gets so mad too,
especially angry.
Especially when it's like I need 1 stone to get something, and you're like, "There's no way he can get that."
And if there's a wonder out there that now that he's played, that if it comes out, it's a named wonder. And if it comes out, he always goes for it, and I really got to start trying to get it away from him. It says when you go into the bag, you get to draw 2 stones instead of 1, and then take the one that you want. And if it's out there, he's going for it because he loves it. So, anyways, this is it's a good time. It's I feel like it's a good intro game. A little bit higher than low level intro game, but not medium because there's a couple mechanics in there that are a little bit tricky. So that's kind of where I put it at. I don't think that there'd be I feel like there'd be some people that would find it uninteresting. I don't.
Right.
That's the way I would put it. I don't think it has a whole bunch of mechanics that people are like, I just hate that mechanic.
And it's not really like a story or anything going on.
Right.
So if you're looking for a story, then
that's not it. So. All right. Anything else? Just subscribe, ask questions.
If there's any videos or any games you want us to play, definitely let us know because we always prioritize that stuff.
Yep.
And then we got coffee set up that should be in the description below if you want to help support us.
What's a tip?
Yep. And aside from that, I think that's everything. So.
All right.
See you later.
See ya.
Boards and booze, booze and boards, with Mickey and Jeb. All right,
so we're back.
Start it over.
I wrote on the refrigerator today that Jeb sucks.
Part of me agrees.
Okay, go ahead.
This is where editing comes in handy.
This is where help from friends would help too. I'm on a roll today.
I know.